Hello again. This is Brother Bernie, continuing in our studies on the book of Genesis. We're now in day 2 of creation. Day 1 was the creation of light. And if you know anything about the properties of light, when it lands upon an object, naturally tends to heat up that object to some extent. So God created light to prepare the actual physical, creative activity on the canvas called Earth. So, let's continue reading. We're at Genesis 1, 6-8. I'm reading from the Authorized Version, and here it goes. And God said, "Let there be a firmament." Now, a firmament is it's a fancy word for dome or enclosure. That's a firmament, a covering, so to speak. So basically what God was doing was creating a perfect greenhouse environment. But I'm ahead of myself. Let's read here. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. In other words, here the Holy Spirit, which hovered or which moved on the waters, divided the waters from the water. The first creative act from utter chaos. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. Folks, I don't know about you. I'm a Star Trek fan. I love watching the Enterprise go into outer space. And Captain Jean-Luc Picard, that's that bald-headed guy, played by Patrick Stewart. And he goes, "Make it so." Make it so is a foregone conclusion. It's going to be acted on. And so the Bible here says, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and morning were the second day. Now, it says here, and God said. There's the word again. The process of changing utter chaos into organized beauty and perfection is continuing. God, by his word, divided the waters to be above and below to create our biosphere. Biosphere is another fancy word for our atmosphere. Biosphere means the sphere where life exists. Atmosphere includes the biosphere and all the air above it to where the barrier above the earth is. What God created was a vapor sphere, which was a perfect filter to filter out any cosmic rays, anything that was going to occur in the future. He, in essence, created a perfect environment for creation, the rest of creation to occur. When I think of a firmament, I think of a domed structure. In a sense, this is true. The Hebrew word for firmament is rakia. Rakia. It literally means stretched out thinness of space. Weird, isn't it? A stretched out thinness. I guess that would be true. a stretched out canopy surrounding the earth. The created division of waters became, as I said before, our atmosphere, in which is our biosphere, in which the flying birds exist and would exist in the future, and us. So the vapor created our atmosphere. Now, one thing that you need to understand, the vapor canopy would provide an ideal, unpolluted environment for fruitful animal and plant life. It would also account for the long lives and comfort of humans that were to come. Again, when the earth was first created, and I believe that was about between 7,000 and 8,000 years ago, not the old billions and billions of years that people say. You know, God prepared for life by creating a perfect terrarium. I don't know about you, but when I went to school, we created a terrarium. A terrarium is a big, big bottle where after you put a plug on it, it's totally self-contained. We watered the soil and we planted some plants with a long stick. We put it into the soil. We put the stopper on and see what would happen. It was a perfect environment for life to occur. Plants would grow. And it watered itself because the water would come up on the edge of the glass and drop back down again. So it was with the environment God created. In Genesis 2 verse 6, the watering of the earth was provided by a mist from the earth, which watered the whole face of the ground. So what we have is an account of the creation of the first heaven, the part we see as sky, but totally cloudless, no clouds. There wouldn't be any clouds because we didn't have the water cycle that we have today, where the water comes up, catches in clouds, and then comes back down. There were no clouds. It was a perfect environment. God created a perfect environment that would sustain long and healthy life. All I can say to that is, wow, what a mighty God we serve.